Cheers, Daniel.
Cheers. Isn't
my
this
God.
great? Free booze.
Free booze.
Yay.
Upon my arrival here today with my keyboard, I got a parking spot right outside.
You drove?
I did drive from Crown Heights. I know, I'm crazy. I also put moisturizer on at the intersection of Atlantic and Flatbush at a red
Sounds like
light.
a bad idea.
It was a horrible idea. I
Yeah.
took my glasses off and everything.
No.
Put moisturizer on the way here. And I walked into the actual store and I went up to the help desk and I said, oh my God, I can't. I said, hi, I'm playing tonight. I'm playing tonight in the Forbidden Books room.
That's okay. There are Harry Potter magnets everywhere in the building.
No, I was mortified and he was like, what? And I was like, oh, I think actually it's called the Rare Books room. So I don't know what kind of slip that is, but
Okay, one of these books might fly.
yeah, we'll see.
Mhm.
Or is forbidden. Who knows?
Right.
Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my God. So where should we start? What do you think?
Should I pull out the list of...
Yeah, let's pull out the list.
Right.
We're gonna be super pro about this.
-1, How We Met.
How we met.
Uh-huh. That's good.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Well, I lived in New York for I guess like a brief moment in time. I like 2 years, almost 3.
Mhm.
And I was grinding it out really hard at Grey Dog. What's up, Grey Dog? And then I worked at another restaurant, and I was auditioning every day and not booking anything. And I was wearing like a dress and the nude heels, you know, the audition uniform.
Character shoes.
Character shoes. And then I was like, this isn't me.
Mhm.
Like, I could barely stand to give a monologue because I was like teetering on these insane shoes. It didn't make any sense. So Underland is the play we did,
Yes.
59.
Mhm.
And it was the first audition I went to, and I just wore like my clothes,
Yeah.
which was cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's and then I was working at a Mexican restaurant, and I got the email saying that I booked the show, and then I met you.
Did you quit the restaurant right after?
did.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You were babysitting though, or
I was teaching daycare
daycare,
too, so
Yeah.
it was daycare and
rehearsals and performances,
performances.
Yeah.
No
the
restaurant.
glamorous life.
Always holding down at least 2 jobs.
Right.
While doing a play.
Yeah.
What were you doing before you did Underland?
I was waiting tables at Hillstone, which is
Anyone?
called Houston's around the country. There's one on 54th and 3rd. That's okay.
Prime
there are
real
no finance
estate.
people here, I'm guessing. That's fine.
Good.
Uh-huh,
Good.
Good. Just my target demographic.
Yeah, there we go.
But
Hashtag billions.
yeah, right. I shot the pilot of Billions, and then I booked this play. And so then it kept me going from... No, I was still working at the restaurant because I would pick up shifts every now and then. And then we did the play.
Yep.
And Kylie was with me when I got the... Is this taking away your story that you were going to
No.
say? Okay. Kylie was with me when I got the phone call that said Billions got picked up. And we were in some random deli in Midtown around 59 East 59.
Yeah. The kind of place that sold Chinese food and bagels and fruit.
And had a salad bar.
And had a salad bar.
And overpriced kombucha.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
That was a really amazing moment.
Yeah. And then
I
I
was so
didn't have
happy
to
for
go
you.
back.
You didn't have to work at the restaurant,
I
did
think
you?
I waited tables between season 1 and season 2.
Oh, okay.
But the restaurant was below a finance. It was in the City Corp building. And so
Oh, God.
these finance bros would be like, yo, you on that show, Billions?
And you were like, mm-mm.
Would you like a martini this evening? Our specials today are...
Is there like, how does that make you feel? Like I would feel like sometimes, so for example,
Yeah.
I was working at a strip mall pizza place back home last summer.
In Pennsylvania.
While I was going to therapy literally 4 times a week. And I was, you know, the order of questions would be, which slices do you want?
Mm-hmm.
Toss them in the oven. Do you want a soda? Small or large?
Mm-hmm.
Beep, boop, beep, boop, cash them out.
Yeah.
So then people would come in and sometimes they would know me from this thing.
Right.
And I felt like I was ruining this like illusion that they might have had of who I am. And I was like, they would be like, oh, like saying something so nice, and I was trying not to be a self-deprecating piece of shit and just say thank you, and then I'd have to say, what size soda would you like? You know what I mean?
Your total is $10.75.
Yes.
Here is the tip jar.
Did that feel weird?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When people would get extra, I would send other waiters to them. Be like,
You just
take,
yeah. Yeah, you have to look out for yourself in
Uh-huh.
that situation.
And then I just stopped going back.
Hey.
Yeah. We did it.
There you go, Daniel.
We did it.
That's
sort
the
of.
moment.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Hopefully. Right. Yeah.
Well, we were talking earlier backstage about people's perceptions of our careers versus the reality and the fear in which we are constantly operating in, despite the fact that it seems like, you're on the cover of an LP here, a record.
A
What is it?
record.
What's
No,
the
you
lingo?
nailed
Yeah,
it.
did
That
I?
was good.
Yeah, was that
Yeah.
right? I'm trying to sound like I know.
You know.
I have a bunch of records, but I don't have a record player.
We gotta get you one,
I know.
sugar.
I know.
Shoot.
You're right.
Yeah. But that's true. I think like there's like managing other people's expectations and then
Right.
your own.
Yeah.
And it's not even your job to manage other people's expectations of you, which is
No.
the annoying
But it's
part,
also
but you, can't
you
help
want
it.
their experience of the art or their
Yeah,
of
to
what
be
you're doing.
consistent.
Yeah, or just like to retain what they have, even though the public perception or the reality of it might be working in a pizza place in a mall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Scranton, Pennsylvania.
While going to therapy.
While
which is
going to
still
therapy
good
a
thing.
million times
Yeah.
a week. Yeah, I mean, this was a cool thing though. So I made buddies with the people who worked in the Starbucks towards the end of the strip mall.
Did you get free Starbucks?
Yes, and
Did you get their free baked goods at the end of the day because they have to throw it away? Yes.
Yes, because we'd close at the same time. It was amazing. And they liked Petal. So, they came in one day to get like their lunch and I was like, okay, cool. It's going to be blah, blah, blah. Do you want one meatball or two meatballs? Blah, blah, blah. And they were like, oh, we really like your music. And I was like, no shit. Just take it. Take the pasta. Take
Yeah.
the meatballs.
Yeah.
Whatever. Take
Yeah.
whatever you want. Like,
Uh-huh.
we're friends now. So, I'd like roll through the drive-thru before my shift and they'd be like, just here's the coffee, just go.
Yeah.
And so we started like committing like what is that, like
Petty
robbery,
theft?
petty
Yeah.
theft? Yeah.
Uh-huh. But really, it's a barter system.
It's a
which
barter
is like society would be
system.
nicer if.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, we won't even get into that. But no, it does feel a little bit like that too. And like, for example, like this is the second record I'm putting out, and there's that thing of staying cautiously optimistic because when I was acting too, and I still audition when I can, but it's like you go into every audition basically convincing yourself like, this is just a fun chance to perform.
This is the one chance I get to play this part for 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna own it and then walk out and go to whatever else I had planned for the day.
I go shopping right after.
Yeah, you don't invest anything in that. You would have to be crazy to go into every audition and thinking like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's kind of like that with this, you can, I'm really lucky. I have an amazing team. They're here. Hello. Who helped me with this. And, but even then it's like, if it doesn't grab people, if the music doesn't resonate, if, there's no guarantee
Right.
in that at all.
Right.
And so for a while, I would like try to be what I thought was cool in indie rock, which was like Father John Misty and like getting up on stage and wearing a hat and sunglasses and like not letting anyone see your face and like cursing at the audience. And I was like, that's not me at all. But like,
Did you really do that?
no, I did wear a hat for a while.
Okay, how'd that go?
It was okay.
In high humidity season, it sounds like a smart thing.
It was, yeah. I mean, like the poof, but no. And then I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not cool like that. Like, that's not who I am. I'm gonna stop trying to do that and like, I'll be a nerd like I am and like be excited.
Which is why we're both wearing clear framed glasses.
Yeah, clear for queers.
Oh, that's our hashtag
clear
for today.
queers.
Clear for queers.
Yes.
Happy Pride.
Hashtag Pride. Hashtag Warby Parker.
Hashtag Magic Gone. There we go. Trending now on Twitter.
Trending. Oh God. But yeah, so it's like, I don't know. It's weird because I think when you enter an arts career, I don't think it always starts with, I'm going to do this so I can make money and support myself and have stability. Like, That's
No.
not what. No, like
No.
not even a little bit. But like you do it because you love it, and you're willing to work 2 other jobs besides going to rehearsal or practicing with your band or going on tour. Like that compromise and negotiation is always worth it because you don't want to do anything else.
Right.
So, but then there's that thing where I think you enter, let's say, audition season or pilot season or touring cycles in the summer and fall, and you start to get that compare despair. You can't help but compare yourself to everything else and everyone else. And it's such a waste of time, but it's so inevitable. And, I have a classically trained voice. So for me, my first record, I was like, oh, I want to sing like this because this is what
you were trained to do.
Women in indie rock sing like.
Oh,
I'm going to try to do the opposite.
Oh, okay.
And then I listened back to Shame, and I'm still proud of it, but I'm like, I'm not really singing. I'm not letting it come out. I sound scared, And so then I was like, you know what? I'm a musical theater nerd making indie rock music. I'm just going to like let my voice be my voice and not try to edit it. And I feel like so much more proud of what I made. Yeah. Instead of just kind of feeling like I made something with the intention of pleasing the people that would hear it. Yeah. Like I did it because I made it the way I did because it's exactly the way I wanted it to be. Right. And then hopefully people latch on.
Right. It's like what you were saying about auditioning. Instead of playing the part of the actress in character shoes and what you're supposed to look like and supposed to do, the day you went in as your authentic self is the day you booked a job.
I booked a show. Yeah. Also, like, I don't know what the sensation is in this, or like, everyone knew I wasn't straight except me. 25.
Our play had Kylie's character kissing another schoolgirl. They were both schoolgirls in Australia.
Yeah, 15-year-old girls. And I was like totally in love with my best friend, the character, and and just like completely paralyzed with like the complete obvious fact that I was and
you thought you were doing great character acting.
I thought I was just being a great actor, and I was like, I messaged.
We were all like,
yo,
no,
come on.
She gets to express her true self right now, and she doesn't even know it.
So the playwright's name is Allie Collier. She's a wonderful person. And so I started coming out to everyone, and I messaged her, and I was like, hey, girl, miss you, just so you know. Like, I'm like into girls too. Like I'm into everyone. Like there's no, all bets are off. And she was like, oh, I mean, yeah. And I was like, I spent so many years just riddled with anxiety and guilt, and here it's my parents knew before I did. Like everyone was just like, yeah.
Right. Oh, cool.
Great.
So where do you want to get lunch?
I was like, son of a bitch. Like I was like crying on the way here. I was so nervous to tell you, and they're just like, oh well, I mean, and
right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we just go off, don't we?
We did. We covered some of our
we hit a couple
points.
of the bullet points.
Yeah. One of them was coming out experiences.
Coming out, yeah. I'm trying to think. I remember being in high school and my dad said, I can't wait to meet your first girlfriend. And I was like, that's great, Dad.
Right.
What was that like for you?
Right. The first time I came out to my mom, I was in...
The first time?
Yeah. I was voluntarily in conversion therapy. I think I told you. Maybe. We might have been drunk when we were talking about this.
Probably.
And so then I had to come out again when I went to college to be like, no, I do like...
This is it.
Yeah. Wow. I do like penis. And it is not a sin. So then I was living away from home in San Diego, and she was in LA, and she drove down with a Bible and put Post-it notes in it of like every sin I was committing.
No.
And then we didn't talk for a while, and I went into therapy, #therapy.
Essential.
Yeah. And then my therapist eventually was like, I'm an only child, and she's a single parent, so he was like, you can choose to not have a relationship with her, which is understandable. You can choose to have a relationship with her in which you fight this sin, big air quotes, or you can find some gray area because she is the older one, and religion was sort of her safety net, I think, as an immigrant and as a
Okay.
single parent.
So
and
that
all
was, did she have that before you moved here? Or was that like an
like,
American
I
thing,
think-
like a new
yeah.
thing?
In-
Okay.
In Korea, I think she was a real badass. Like,
Yeah?
she wore go-go boots. I have these old pictures of her in
Ooh,
like
mommy.
really short dresses, and she'd be like, when I was poor, I would just get guys to buy my friends and I drinks and food, and then we'd leave
Stop.
them.
I literally can't even imagine it.
And now she goes to church every day, twice a day. So
That's insane.
right.
So you
I had to come out multiple times.
multiple
Yeah.
times, specifically to her.
Yeah. Although she did say, not unlike your dad being like, I can't wait till you date women. My mom was like, I figured you'd be gay because I was a single parent. And I was like,
Ooh,
oh, there's
loaded.
so many. Uh-huh. Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But then
mean-
I can write about it and make a TV show about
I
her.
know.
You know, so
Yes.
turn pain into art.
Yeah, there you go.
Hashtag magic gone.
Hashtag.
We did it. Yeah, there we go.
Oh my God. True though.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I think when you work in these specific industries or communities, artistic communities, you like the friends you forge in the like pits of
Yeah.
like
Well, you have a friend here from Grey Dog.
Right, yeah. I have like, and then Hannah, I slept on her couch for 3 months when I first moved to New York. I had 2
Yeah.
suitcases and $1,000. And she was the one who convinced me I could quit a job. So the first job I got here in the city, I was paid $8 an hour before
What?
taxes.
What was that for?
It was a server at a restaurant. I know,
Oh,
it was terrible.
no.
And well, that place got sued and they got shut down, by the way. I got a letter in the mail. And so, because they asked me if I wanted to be a part of this like group lawsuit. And I was
Did you
like,
say yes?
I said, yes, Costco. Oh shit, they might have changed owners. I could have made a killing on this lawsuit and I decided I worked there for one day and I shouldn't be an asshole. But I came home and I said to Hannah, I was like, Hannah, I don't know what to do. There's no way I'm gonna ever be able to move into an apartment for
Right.
this kind of money. And she was like, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna drink this PBR, you're gonna chug it, and you're gonna go over there and tell him that you can't work there. And I was like, okay. And I came from a home where it was like, you did not quit things. You didn't quit sports. You didn't quit show choir. You didn't quit anything.
This is a true story.
This
we were
is
talking
true.
about it.
Yeah, my mom was staunchly like, you know, this is where you learn life lessons, is enduring pain that is unnecessary. And so, so, you know, yeah, like I feel like it's in those like, you know, moving to the city and like knowing 6 people and having no money, getting a job at Grey Dog and meeting like 1,000,001 incredible friends, and like everyone's just trying to do their art.
Yeah.
You know, and that's when you like those are those relationships and bonds that you can't fuck with. Like
Yeah.
they're impenetrable.
Right.
Like you and I, for example, I don't know if we've seen each other even since I left New York.
Right. And then you surprised me at my play.
I came to see Daniel's wonderful play. It's called A Gentleman Caller. It's closed, unfortunately, but it was fucking amazing. And
And then we went out to dinner.
got hammered
And then got kidnapped
by this
very kind man who
very rich.
bought us many drinks.
Yeah, we were like, what's happening?
But that was supposed to be our catch-up time.
I know. And then all of a sudden he was like, I love billions. And I was like, ooh, girl. And then he bought us a bunch of drinks.
many, many rounds.
But, like,
and we
all-
ended up at Marie's Crisis.
We
Remember?
did. I had never been there before, you guys. What the hell? This is my first time at the Strand. And I'm talking. Like,
How
it's
many years
insane.
did you live in New York?
3.
Yeah.
Yeah. I worked the whole time.
Right. A
It's-
block from here.
Yeah, literally. Yo, oh God. So
No, the universe is doing you right. It's reintroducing you to all these places.
It's the full circle effect.
Uh-huh.
But it's also interesting too because it's like we sat down together and it felt like no time had passed.
Yeah, we could just pick up.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah, and I
And we
think
could talk about such intimate things that this man now knows all about.
all about.
So much.
I can't even remember his name. I gotta be.
I have his
totally
card
honest.
somewhere.
You have his card.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. We'll send him this
Yeah.
live stream.
Hey.
Hi.
But
Thanks for those Manhattans.
yes. But I guess, you know, to say like, you know, I have a lot of friends who work at jobs they hate.
Right.
They hate them.
Yeah.
I have a friend in particular who works in sales and advertising, and he just got this huge promotion, and it seems really stressful. And I know he wants to open a bookshop.
Oh.
And I'm like, dude, do it.
Right.
What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
You know, I was like, save the money, work one more year at this job, come up with a business plan,
Right.
save the money, and go for it. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because I don't know, life's so short, and I by no means am rolling in cash. Trust me, that's not my existence. But what I will say is, like, I feel so grateful that I get to do what I do, and
Right.
and especially after I came out, I was on tour. So it was Trump got elected. I was in Houston, Texas on tour. Terrifying.
Because they were celebrating there.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, and then I was like, fuck it. Like, if I'm gonna have this platform and be closeted, then what am I doing? Especially now, it's not the time for that, right?
Wow.
And so you like make the choice, and it was amazing because in every city we went to after that, each show just felt like this amazing little bubble of like a couple of hours for a bunch of people who were feeling really bad to feel really good.
Yeah.
Right? And like,
Yeah.
that's why we go to the theater. That's why we go to the movies.
Right.
Like, it's so insane to me that like, it's so hard for someone to even get my attention singularly because I am engaged in my stupid pocket computer, and I hate it. And I think about plays and shows and why I love them. And it's because it's like such a rare thing to get a bunch of people in a room to be silent together.
Right.
And listen to something.
And experience something together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So of course, like, yeah, I'm playing, or you know, you're on stage performing.
Yeah.
But like, it's not one-sided at all. Like,
Right.
you need to be on the same team, and it's nice because there's so much noise otherwise every day, and we're inundated with horrific news and
Right.
a lot of trial just as people. So it's like the best job in the world.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Even though like I didn't have health insurance for like a cool minute. Thanks, Obamacare.
Right.
I have it now. But
For now.
Right. But again, yeah, I don't know. I think there's privilege involved in like everything. So, you know, like I don't take for granted that I can do this, but
Right.
like, you know, my parents weren't rich people either.
Right.
And it was like the fact that they would pay for piano lessons. Like, I think about that now and I'm like, God, like, I'm so grateful that they
Right.
were down to do that, or that I was, whether they inadvertently did it or not, brave enough to say like, no, I'm going to school for theater. I know this is a lot of debt, but I'm doing it. And they were like, all
And they
right.
supported you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't know. I see Jim here. Jim and his daughter Veronica have been like Petal fans when I was like not even remotely cool. I'm still not, but Jim and his daughter like have been in every single one of my shows, and like
Wow.
such a wonderful. So I have these like this like extended family
Yeah.
through this job, and it's like the coolest thing ever.
Right.
You know.
I think because I was raised in a religious environment and no longer go to church, I think of theater and shows and artistic experiences as my church, as the religious experience, as a communal experience. Like, you are creating community through your artistry. I think that is the purest form of faith or love or something that was meant to enact goodwill and community in a world in which you might not have that. So,
Thanks. That's
Yeah.
really nice.
right.
That's really nice. Thank you. Yeah, I try. I mean, I don't know. It feels weird sometimes because like I do this because I love it, and then like the job factor of it is all new to me still.
The business side.
I don't really know how to. I have lots of help.
That's why you have a great team.
That's why I have
Right.
all this help, because I'm like, I don't know how. And I mean, and to be fair, I did grind it out for a while on my own. I was my own tour manager, my own
I remember that.
merch person,
Yeah.
my own everything, and I learned so much. And I did all my accounting on tour in a notebook. Hayden, who is going to be my tour manager, she's here. I don't know where she is. Hey, girl. We won't use a notebook. I promise. So, I don't know.
Was that right after the play?
That was right
Underland?
after the play, yeah.
I remember you saying you were going to go on tour and pursue the music thing.
Which was scary because I felt like some people were like, what, are you crazy? You just booked your first job here.
And look at you now.
Yeah, and
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I still am like constantly racking my brain of like, is this the right choice? Am I doing the right thing? Blah, blah, blah. And I don't know, it's really hard. I think the only decision I have ever made with complete certainty was like stopping touring, stopping everything, and like moving home and getting treatment. Like that was the only thing I ever did where I was just like, all right, I have to do this right now, and it's going to affect some people in a negative way, including myself, but like I have to do it.
Right.
And everything else I've kind of just been like, oh, like gritting my teeth a little bit, but being like, I feel like this is right. But that was like certain.
Mm-hmm. Well, good on you to know when to practice self-care and to ask for help. And
yeah, I mean, it's a hard time. I mean, the past 2 weeks alone between Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain, it's just so devastating. And these people who are very well loved and very respected in their communities internationally, I mean,
doesn't make their struggle any less real, or
no. And I mean, talking about it is one thing, and then yeah, I think there's someone posted a very interesting article that was like, we see a lot of hotline numbers shared and like really great sentiments about like reaching out. You can talk to me. That's really great. But it's so much more in depth than that, because in a way that's sort of passive, right? It's like, here's this number.
Right. Here's this Facebook post.
But it's every day, right? So for me, like even last week, there was a morning I could not get out of the bed. I just couldn't do it,
So what did you do?
Well, the contractor was coming over to fix the leak in my ceiling, so I had to get up. But it was a challenge, and I had to, I didn't brush my teeth or shower, and I had to call my partner and say, like, you know what, I don't feel safe by myself today, And he was like, all right. And he came up, and that's great. But like, that's like a lot of practice. Like that took like a year and some change.
To say what you needed.
Exactly. And that's like, I think it's important too, because I think in this culture as a society in America, like I don't think we're really wired to feel like we're allowed to be weak or allowed to ask for help.
Ask for help, right.
That's just not what you do. And, if you're not constantly producing stuff that is deemed
a contribution to society,
contribution, useful, then no, like we don't need to hear about it. And so, it's hard because it's like, I don't want to bother people, I don't want to stress people out, like blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, it's just like I could have stayed in bed all day. I probably wouldn't have eaten. I probably wouldn't have. I mean, like brushing my teeth is this weird thing where as soon as I start to feel kind of bad, that's the first thing I stop doing.
That's the thing that gets dropped off the list. I stop
doing it.
Yeah.
And as soon as I stop brushing my teeth, I'm like, I should probably tell someone that I'm not doing so good. Because I'm like, otherwise
Do you
appearing
have a fancy
pretty
toothbrush?
normal.
What if I bought you a really expensive with like the Bluetooth thing?
No. You know what I want? I want like a Frozen toothbrush that like plays a song and you're supposed to brush your teeth for the duration of the song.
Cool. I'm gonna find this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Christmas. I did get the charcoal toothpaste that turns your mouth black.
Does it work?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And it's so much fun.
Great.
And so like
Do your teeth feel whiter? I mean, don't look at it now, but when you did it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And it's so fun because it's like, it looks like you're brushing your teeth with Oreos. And then you're like, right. And then you spit it out. And I do this alone, but like it is incentive to brush my teeth because every morning I crack myself up.
I like the idea of getting up with bedhead and like crust in your eyes and feeling a little down, but then turning your teeth black makes you smile. And you're like, cool, I'm ready to face my day now.
Here we go. Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I don't know, those little things. But like all this to say basically is like you can get to any rate of, I don't know, success, I guess. I don't know. And there's still miles to go sometimes. And,
Right.
And that you still might not feel completely settled, or you might need to ask for help. And that's like, okay. And I even literally a week ago, like, I try to walk the walk of the things that I say, but
Of course.
I was still having a hard time.
Yeah.
So I just think, that's where art is important too. Theater is important. Dance is important. TV, like Parks and Rec saved my life.
Yes.
Truly.
Mine too.
Yeah. I was living in New York.
Mm-hmm.
I was super depressed after Underland. I'm going to tell you the story now, Daniel.
This is the story.
So Daniel doesn't know I'm going to tell the story, but I need him to know how important this was to me. And I'm sure many of you have been this person for someone else without even realizing it. So I was so broke. I could afford to go to therapy and buy a Metro card, and that was pretty much it. So I was living on oatmeal and avocados. And when my friends were working shifts at restaurants, I'd text them and be like, yo, can I come and get some food? And they'd be like, yes.
Wow. This was during the show?
This was right after.
Okay.
So Daniel and I both lived in Astoria, and you had texted me a couple of times to hang out. Do you want to go get a drink? Do you want to go get dinner?
Uh-huh.
And I would be like, oh, and I would make something up.
Uh-huh.
Because I was just too embarrassed to say, like, I can't. And I was so depressed, and Parks and Rec was the only thing that was getting me through it, because like I was watching these people be good friends to each other every day on this show. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. Like, look at them. And it gave me so much hope. And even though I couldn't like go out and be with friends because I was like struggling so much financially and also very depressed, it was hard to get out of the apartment. I like had this example that I could watch every day of people being really good to each other. And I love that show for that. And so one day you had texted me again, and you were like, we're going to see Inside Out. Do you want to come?
Oh.
And I was like, I can't lie to you anymore. I just can't afford to go. I can't go. And I was I don't think I had left my apartment for days at that point.
Wow.
And you were like, I don't care, I'll buy you a ticket. Like, come on, let's go to the movies. And that was like the first time I had left my house in like maybe 3 days.
What?
And I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't.
And we went to see Inside Out, which was like, what an appropriate film, right? And the three of us, your roommate Jess, we were all just sitting there like, like loving it.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I didn't know when would be a good time to share that part of our friendship with you. But, why not in front of a group of people?
Wow.
But that was like, I don't know what would have happened. I mean, at that point I left the house to buy oatmeal. I think that was it.
Yeah.
And you were just so instantly like, I got it. Like, seriously, it's totally fine. Let's just go. And I think that's the level of friendship that you find in those hard experiences, and then those like grinding it out in an off-Broadway play that was pretty successful, I'd say.
Right.
All things considered, but we weren't getting paid a ton of money to do that show, or whatever. But like we were like in the thick of it together, and that's the kind of stuff you do for each other. And money is just kind of money. I mean, and it doesn't matter. And like how selfless you were in that moment, like was really pivotal. So thank you. I love you so much. No. But I think this record is like all of that kindness that was offered to me by people that I love so much. It enabled me to make that and stick around long enough to make that, because there were points where I was just like, I'm good. I can't do this anymore. And I had people in my corner really pushing me to stay. And because of that, I was able to make something. Right. And now I can share it with people, which is amazing. And
I'm sure people can read this in a lot of great interviews that are happening, but the construct of the album, half of it was written pre-recovery,
pre-therapy, I guess.
And then half of it was written
after.
Right.
Yeah, so side A is mostly songs from when I was like not properly diagnosed, not on medication, not out. And side B is after all of that, so coming out, entering treatment, getting on meds, and being pretty straightforward with people, and so, you know, you'll hear songs on the record that clearly are very angry and a little paranoid. and I
like the anger.
I do too.
Yeah.
I had an acting teacher here in the city who was a wonderful man named Matthew Corzine, and he was like, he's Long Island and a former smoker. And he was like, you don't let yourself get angry. And I was like, I'm just not an angry person. He was like, oh, fuck you. Yes, you are. And so he made me do this scene, and he was like, you know, it's Meisner, so you just keep repeating it. And so next thing I knew, I like blacked out in rage, and I was just screaming this line, and all of a sudden he was like, stop! And I was like, and he was like, drag queens will be saying that line on Fire Island for the next 10 years. And I was like, is that good? And he was like, yes. So I was like, oh, I guess I need to get angry more. And I think when you grow up in like a type A sort of like do your best home, you just don't get angry. That's not something you do. You don't do that.
Yeah. I keep imagining your acting teacher is Harvey Fierstein. And from here on out, I will continue to imagine this.
Excellent. So. MCS, great studio. Yeah, but like Buffer.
Oh, cool.
In Italian.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Send him my way.
Yeah, they're both wonderful people.
Great.
So I will. And so, yeah, so the first track that we released is called Better Than You, and that was like a song where I let myself be angry at the industry and kind of poke fun at myself too, because I like started doing music and playing in a band because I loved it, and then all of a sudden I was like concerned about Twitter followers and concerned about tours and comparing myself to my peers, and all of a sudden I was like a jealous sad sack, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, this isn't who I am. Like, what a waste of fucking time. And then also I had someone who actually works for me say about another band to me, well, they're just like better than you. So, and I was like,
but it's not a competition.
Why do you work for me if you don't think what I'm doing is that good? Like, it was just like a nightmare, and I was like,
they don't work for you anymore, right?
Well, they do. No, we're great. We've worked it out.
A new chapter now.
A new chapter. But like, you know, there's so many parts of like acting, even like you the industry itself is not great. Yeah. Like there's parts of it that are wonderful. You meet wonderful people, but in theory, there's a lot of things about it that aren't wonderful, which is why we see things like Me Too happening, and so. The song was basically like poking fun at myself for caring and poking fun at like this. It's like, don't listen to everyone's bullshit and do what you love, but also you should really care about what everyone says, you know? Like Daniel doesn't care about reviews. He'll just read them.
Right, which is what I say. And then this last show I did, I was like 4 a.m. opening night reading reviews and drinking a lot of bourbon.
But you tweeted about the bourbon, and then you got a case of bourbon.
And exactly. Michter's is sending me some bourbon, which is so nice. Oh,
Lord. I shouldn't even endorse this, but...
Today we're endorsing Simpler Wines.
Simpler Wines Rosé.
Which
in
is
a can.
Really good. I'd love another one.
Girl, there's probably more in the back. Go get some.
Oh, no, but I wanted to say something about that. Oh, I think that oftentimes in this industry... a competitive spirit is encouraged. And I actually think it's more crabs in a barrel. And so I'll go to an audition and it'll be a bunch of young people of color, or even worse, just Asian American men. and we're all different types, and we're all different, you know, like have different fortes or stories to tell. But rather they'd rather us all compete for the same thing.
Isn't that gross?
And I used to be very competitive, a competitive swimmer and singer and whatever, and instead I think there's no, use whatever fuel you need to pursue whatever you want to, but I think that kind of fuel will exhaust itself and exhaust you, and instead I'd rather create the community around me of now I'm friends with all of these people that I audition with. So every audition is just a chance to hang out
Just
with
like, what's up?
whatever smattering of POCs are in that room.
Daniel.
And then we go drink and get oysters. You know,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think you've been able to do that too with your peers and in your industry, to rather than like compete with everyone. You're like, no, this is my space, or this is the lane that
Or
I'll
we're
be in.
competing for this space that's allotted to anyone who's not a straight white guy.
Right. And which is already
Which I know
already
plenty of
smaller,
wonderful straight white guys, but like but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's just like people have been asking me like, what is it like to feel like women are just having this moment in indie rock, or like queers are having this moment in indie rock, and I'm like, what? Like, we've been doing it for a long time. There's people before I even picked up a guitar or entered the world who have been doing this for a long time. Like, it's not a moment. It's just like, instead of deciding we all need to compete for this very liminal space, we're saying like, you know, like,
no,
here's the TNT,
up.
boom,
Yes.
like, here's space enough for everyone.
And let's make space
like,
for everyone. Exactly.
Yeah, and then and that's why it's like amazing to see people like Lena Waithe or like or like so many wonderful artists who are just elevating each other. Like Haley Kiyoko and Kalani are both two queer women, people of color, making pop music, and they have a duet together instead of. And also, I'm very weary of this. Like, this person is the next so and so.
Yeah.
This person is the next this.
Here is the next black queer thing that will be the greatest. You know.
Right.
And
until
like,
we decide something else is
be people?
better.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of competing with each other, how come why can't we just all exist in the same place? Like, the tours I'm getting pitched for aren't the same that some of my peers are getting pitched for.
Right.
So like, I don't want to like feel weird animosity or
like want to take someone else down.
It sucks. Like,
right.
There's
and yet the industry would rather, or just, you know, certain people in power, and admittedly they are usually straight white men, would rather that, or have created a structure in which that occurs. And so here we are to try to change that paradigm.
Right.
And here you are doing it, you know?
Trying. Thank you. And you too. I mean, I think there's musicians in my position who want to just be seen as a musician, right? Not like a queer woman musician or a trans musician or this or that, right? Because that is like, it's like it's a responsibility you then carry, right? And so it's like, you know, our patriarchal maybe counterparts are just seen as great musicians.
Right. They don't need any other labels.
Right. We have another moniker, right? So it's like, how do you feel like you have to deal with that ever?
You know, I met with a new agency recently and I did end up signing with them, but they were asking, and they were asking what kind of work I wanted to do, and I said, if I had to play gay characters for the rest of my life, then thank goodness that there are that many gay characters being written. And if I only played characters that were written for Asian guys with immigrant backgrounds or this narrative of being an other, then thank goodness that story is being told. And then on the flip side, I would love to play the characters that weren't written to be gay or weren't written for a specific minority, so that I can just tell the story. But I will be here for both and will do it till the day I die. So I understand both paradigms of not wanting to be the label or the box or put into this thing. And on the same side of that coin, I think, or on the other side of that coin is that by doing that, I'm creating space or representing somebody who may not have seen the precedents before, and so I get to set precedent in a way by being their first experience of this kind of narrative or that kind of identity or this kind of storytelling. So
that's like
I hope to be
major.
both. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, it's like, I guess deciding where.
Right. And the awareness is
live.
that we have to fight for both, if, you know, that's what you want, rather than being given the benefit of the doubt where you can be all. You know, the white male gets to play French and Spanish and sometimes Asian and sometimes brown and black, and yet that's good acting or good storytelling or transformative or chameleon-like work.
Yeah, like Eddie Redmayne getting nominated for an Oscar for The Danish Girl.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Right.
I'm not here to disparage anyone else's career.
But-
I'm here to make space for everyone else who isn't getting the opportunities.
Yeah.
Right. But
Right.
so knowing that and yet still persevering is its own act of defiance or act of revolution, I think. You
Yeah.
making your work, telling your story, being so transparent about what you go through helps other people feel less alone. And I think, at least I pursue this craft hoping to do that. And whether or not you're
Right.
actively consciously thinking about it, you are doing it because you're one more person who is talking about it or sharing it or turning that into something. And so someone else gets to hear this. Hopefully they have a record player in some small town and feel a little less alone in the world in what they go through.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank for what you do too. I mean, yeah, I can only hope that that's what comes out of this. I mean, it's been a lot of 3 years of songwriting and yeah, I don't know. It's funny. I feel some distance from it in a way, right? Because it's like something I made and it's past.
Right.
And now I have to get ready to tour it and sing the songs in front of people. And I haven't really done it yet. Like I haven't played these songs with a band in front of people before.
Kylie plays every instrument on the album except for the drums. Fun fact.
Yeah, thank you.
And her own backup vocals, harmonies, everything. These are in articles. Go read them. But just so this room knows and we can brag about her.
Thanks. That's sweet. Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to make something that felt raw and honest, and we did all the vocal takes and whole takes in the live room, minimal comping, and never auto-tune ever. I was like, I'd rather do 30 takes before we auto-tune something that I sang. I'm by no means an excellent guitarist. Like I'm not Annie Clark. I wish I was. I'm not. But I've gotten better, right? And so I have a lot of young people come up to me on tour who are either young femme folks or LGBTQ folks or people of color who are like, I want to start a band, but I don't feel like I'm good enough at guitar yet. I'm like, did you just see what I just did?
Just do it.
Just do it, right?
Yeah.
Because you only get better when you're
doing
it. Yeah. And
in front
also
of people at that.
Exactly, if you can.
Yeah.
And also like, what is this idea that like if we're gonna get up there, we have to be just as good, if not exceptionally better than what the status quo is, which is like whatever, like the Dirty Projectors or something, like whatever. Like if I'm not as good as them or as
I don't know who they are.
it's fine. It's fine.
I'm not very cool at.
But like, yeah, this idea that like if
but
you're
I do know Petal.
Yes. But like if you're gonna get up there and play the instrument, you have to be this like expert fucking guitarist. It's unfair because that would not be expected of any average ass white dude. Ever. I've seen plenty of mediocre bands who are getting paid way more than I am. And frankly, fine, whatever. I don't really give a fuck. But it's about like this idea that there's people out there who don't think they can start a band unless they're very, very good.
You're like, people don't get good overnight.
No, and that expectation is wildly unfair. If that's what's being projected onto you, then I'm so sorry. Like, no, just do it.
Yeah.
And so, you're gonna listen to the record and yeah, there's not a ton of like crazy guitar solos happening, but I do play some lead parts here and there. They're very simple. You can go home and learn them yourself if you'd like. And I practiced a lot to play the tracks on my own. It wasn't necessarily like a breeze. Like I grinded it out to make sure I was ready. And Will, who is my producer, he's like the most wonderful person in the world. He's also a first generation American from China, and he works so fucking hard. And there's this feeling where it's like you always feel like you have something to prove even when you reach a certain level.
Yeah.
And I think he and I definitely resonate in that way, but I think we made something that felt authentic and true, and I haven't talked about this a lot in interviews, and I feel like safe doing this here because it seems like a really lovely group of people. But like a week before I even went into the recording studio, I had a really unfortunate experience with some inappropriate behavior from someone I know and me, right?
Yeah.
So I had to like kind of figure out where to put that while recording the record, and
Right.
and use it to keep fueling myself and also like healing, and
Yeah.
I feel really proud of that. And it's not like a neat and tidy situation, and the record isn't about neat and tidy experiences, so
Right.
it's not a neat and tidy record, and I hope that's okay. But
I don't think you have any apologies to make for that, or
But-
should apologize for that at all.
thanks. Yeah, I mean, I think there's this like, you know, I love Beyonce, and if you don't love Beyonce, we'll talk because I will convert you. But like listening to Lemonade on vinyl and then going to see it in concert is night and day. Both equally wonderful,
Yeah.
but different, right?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to make an album that felt like a live record that was a little more polished here in the studio. And then you can come see it live and it'll translate just as well, but different. Like
Right.
I don't know how these songs are going to come out. Frankly, I had to play at the Warner Music offices and cried in front of everyone playing these songs because I'm just not used to playing them for people yet.
I'm not laughing at your tears. I'm just laughing because I know you and I know that this would happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, I thought we were going to just like a small office. Which is in the same building as the Showtime office, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know exactly where that is.
And so we walk in and there's like a signed picture of Aretha Franklin, and I'm like, what? You didn't tell me this is what we were
How to exacerbate
doing.
imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Aretha Franklin's
There
autographed
she is,
picture.
and you're
Yeah.
like, are you going? Like,
Yeah.
like what? And so I don't know. Like I'm a hot mess, and I'm not gonna pretend that I'm not. And it's been a long journey getting to a place where, you know, I've come to terms that I'm a person that struggles with mental health disorders. I'm a mentally ill person. That's okay. I'm not straight. That's okay. I'm a gender fluid person. That's okay too. You know, yeah, I hope people enjoy it, and I hope that they want to engage with it and talk about it. And you know, I have those records. I think we all do have those records where you're just like, oh, that's like my go-to, you know? Like I could put on Transatlanticism by Death Cab for Cuny anytime, and I'm just like, yes. So, you know, like I wanted to make a record like that people could just put on and then walk away and start doing the dishes, or like put it on and like drive halfway to Philly and, you know, and just listen through the whole thing and grow up with it. Like I heard Transatlanticism for the first time when I was 13, and now I'm 27. And every time I listen to it, it hits me in some new, different way because I've grown up a little, you know? So I kind of wanted to make an album like that where you can revisit it throughout your life, and it lands with you differently every time.
Yeah. I can confidently say that you've already done that here.
Thank
Yeah.
you. That means a
And
lot.
I think, you know, because I'm a guest in the music world right now, but I guess when you make an album, it seems so product oriented, like something becomes frozen in time, or it's like how in my world of television or film, what I do becomes frozen, and that is the product. Whereas when you're doing something like theater, the process of is just as important or valuable, or even more so then. And so
Completely.
for you to acknowledge that this has your process, and yet that is what is represented or frozen or being shared with, makes it even more exciting, and more the like chemistry of that can't be replicated, and also the heart that you're sharing in this and the vulnerability. I think that's what's more exciting. It's like, that's why I go see someone who's a messy performer or is like inconsistent or unpredictable, you know. I won't name names, but like that's exciting to see. And so you're sharing something and not saying, here is the finished, polished product, and yet here are people who are here to support that and here for that. And and how exciting that'll be on tour to experience, because touring is like the closest thing to theater, right? Like what your other love of, and every night is different, and every day you're coming from a different experience or a different lunch or a different phone call or whatever.
No show is ever going to be the same.
Right.
It's like once in a lifetime every single day, which is pretty crazy.
Right.
Yo.
And how exciting. You're doing it.
Peter.
Are we supposed to move on?
Should we sing songs now?
Is a question innate?
Do we want to take some question or two?
Unless I'm happy to answer any questions, unless anyone's like, well, let's just get to the content.
Well, since you're going to be signing after, do you want to take questions while you're signing?
This isn't content.
This is the content,
right.
Daniel.
No.
It's all content.
It's
Don't
all
worry.
content.
What if people have dying questions for you?
Okay, let's see.
And they might
Anybody have
not.
a question?
And if not, it's honestly so fine.
Mm-hmm.
Do not feel pressured to ask me literally
I feel like
anything.
now that you've dangled the music in front of everybody, nobody wants to put that off.
Right.
Do you want to take questions while you're signing? And just
Tom, do you have a question? Yes, Tom.
Just about. Oh, thanks. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Tom.
I asked Daniel to ask you this, but he didn't do it. So
That's okay.
he
We just
wanted
went
me to
off.
ask you
We're
about
2 cans of
music.
rosé
I'm
deep,
sorry.
so there's all bets are off.
No, we're here with our feelings. And
Yeah.
Yes. No,
Slight
it's been a lovely
buzz.
conversation. It's
Let's-
totally fine that we've skipped over this. But I'm interested about your kind of compositional process of this
Ooh,
music. Like, how
sure.
do you actually sit down with sort of your feelings, what you're thinking, the text, I assume? Or do you write the text first? Do you write music first? Sort of what is your process of actually creating this music we're about to hear?
Sure, yeah.
Tom's getting his PhD in musicology,
Yes.
everyone.
Yes, this handsome honey. So I am unfortunately a painstakingly slow songwriter. I don't like to force it. I find when I sit down and I say like I'm gonna write a song today, it's usually complete trash. So a lot of the time what ends up happening is I'm kind of doing the daily minutia of my life, and some words will flash in front of my face, and I'm like, so then I say them into my phone really quick, or I sing them into my phone really quick, and I put it down, and I keep going about my day. And so like over the course of 2 years, usually I'll accumulate that music.
These random snippets of sound and ambient noises.
Yeah, so like if you went into my phone this time last summer, you would be concerned probably, because there was a lot of like me talking and just saying things or singing things, and and then eventually what I like to do is come back. It's very similar to the process of playwriting for me. Is just like I'll free write and then like put it away and then come back a month later and just be like anything worth a second glance. And then I come back and I start to piece things together. And then other times it feels like, you know that moment before you throw up and you're very sweaty and it's like,
Yes, I know this moment.
oh yeah, I'm gonna fucking throw up. It's like that. So sometimes it just gets to this point where it's like so like I feel it under my chin almost, and I am like, and it's just like, it's like completely ejaculatory writing, just like bah. And then I come through with the piano or the guitar, and I see. I don't know. Also, I think for some people, they hear music and they see color, and
Synesthesia.
yes.
Yeah.
And for me, when I see certain words, I hear certain things or I imagine certain things, and so then I try to like musically paint the picture of what I'm seeing in my head, and then you know, I put it away for a while, and then I come back and I'm like, do I still like this? Do I not like this? And some of the songs on the record I wrote when I was in my teens, and then I pulled them out for this record and reworked them. And then other ones I wrote in one shot, just like, boom, there it is. And so I wish it was a tidier process, because I honestly think it would make my life slightly easier. But I don't feel guilty about that, because I think because of the way I write, I was able to make this record in a very specific way. So while it wasn't a tidy writing process, it's a very specific record. So it's like side A is these experiences from my life, and side B is these experiences from this next chapter of my life. And I think sonically you can kind of hear that over the arc of the album. And that's intentional. Like for me, I think you can like write 12 killer singles, but if you put it on and you listen to it straight through, it might not really land as well. And I think that's fine, but like I like the idea of making something that maybe you need to come back to. Maybe there's like a couple melodies that stick the first time through, and then you come back and there's some lyrics that come to you. You know what I mean? Just like a real gradual thing, because like my recovery, am I coming out? Am I this? Am I that? Becoming a grown up, trying to become a grown up. It was a very gradual process. It was not instantaneous. It would be really great if those processes were instantaneously like, I feel better, I feel accomplished. That's just not what it is. So I try not to write that way either. I try not to record that way. And for some other folks, it's different. And those people I tip my hat to, because I'm like, damn, that must be nice. But not to say one's better than the other either. But that's usually how that goes. So there's a lot of napkins, a lot of voice memos, a lot of scraps of paper, a lot of crossing out feverishly and then writing underneath. And that's usually how it goes. Yeah, thanks.
Do we have time for one more, maybe? Anybody else has a question? Or we can get right
Zero pressure.
to the music.
Yeah, let's.
Do you
You want to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Let's do it. Thank you
Can we
so
give
much
Daniel
for
a
your
round of
conversation.
applause?
Thank you, Daniel.
I love this man.
I love you.
That was my Tom Cruise impression. All right, we'll keep it chill, we'll keep it quick. Because it's Wednesday, y'all. Oh, you know when you drink 2 cans of wine and you have to pee, but then you have to sing? I'm gonna sit on my heel, which is a tried and true trick of holding in your pee. So this keyboard is funny. This is my first keyboard, like legit keyboard. And we got it, the local music college was clearing out their inventory, and my mom was like, oh, I bet we might be able to find something kind of cheap there. And I was like, let's do it. And we did. We found something nice and cheap. And so this is like my first real gig with my new BFF. So if you have ideas for a name, let me know. Oh man. I'll start with the title track, Magic On. This is about realizing that you can't run away from your problems. I'm gonna try and get a wine burp out now before I do this. Okay. I swear to God, if you touch me one more time, you know the spot between my hairline and my spine. I swear to God, if you give a compliment, I'll take the shot and hope I forget that I don't even know where you're at, and I can't Thank you. Oh boy. My tour managers in the past, Hayden, just so you know, I do this thing where I put my glasses down on my pedal board or whatever's nearby, and I just kind of trample around like an elephant. And oftentimes, whoever's kind of tour managing, helping me tour manage is like, could you put your glasses literally anywhere else except where you put them when you play? Because if you step on them and you smash them, then this is just bad. That's just not going to be a good time. And I'm like, oh, right, yeah, of course. And I just looked down and I was just cruising along and my glasses are just laying there. So Hayden, I promise, I think I might get those, like the chain, the glasses chain. That might be a better option. All right. This is a song called Shy. This is about being in a relationship and the certain expectations you've had of each other all along, and imagining each other in a certain way, and coming to terms with the fact that sometimes that changes and you have to choose whether you work on it or whether you let it go or you ignore it. There's a couple of options there. So this is kind of about that. How can it be? You've loved me this long. When I watched your eyes roll in a deep sleep, and I can't help but think that line you always repeat. How you can't wait forever, and I know I'm shy. Sorry. Whew. And I know I'm shy. My act is strong. When you push the hair away from my neck, I can't go on. It's a funny thing, the way you look at me, like I'm some sort of treasure of the past. And what could be? I've seen the signs long ago that you think I stop believing. It's a terrible crime. The tablets broke. Commandments we carved out of stone turned to rubble. And I know I'm shy. My act is strong. When you read the words of the back of my hand, I can't go on. It's a funny Thank you. I want to just thank the Strand and Peter and June for helping with this event and for having me. I'm so, so grateful. Daniel, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you so much. So, so much. I don't think there's anything better than getting to make stuff and then to get to look out and see a bunch of faces and friends and people who've helped me get here is just kind of, I don't know. There's really nothing better than that. And I certainly don't take it for granted. And I hope that if I ever do, that I just get struck down with a lightning bolt, just like, pow! This is the last song on the record. We'll see. I think this might be the last one I play tonight. But it's a song called Stardust. It's about the end of a really long-term loving relationship and those what ifs you ask yourself when something ends. Maybe if you did something differently or they did something differently or the circumstances were different. Maybe it would have worked out the way you planned it. But at the end of the day, that's just not how it was supposed to work out. And that doesn't mean you weren't good to each other and you didn't love each other any less. And you can just kind of know that and then be open to whatever happens in the future. With this record, I just think it's important to say that I don't have answers necessarily as much as I present experiences that I've had and hope that they can help guide people who maybe feel a little lost. I'm still figuring it out too. So, outlets and hobbies are so good and wonderful to have, but they should never replace treatment, for example, or seeking help. And every show I play, I say this at the end of it, so this is no different. But if you feel bad right now, you're not alone. You're not a burden. Help is accessible in some fashion, and there are people who exist who are there to help you find it. And you don't owe it to anyone to stick in something that doesn't serve you anymore. You can stop doing anything at any time, and that's okay. That's like more than okay. And it doesn't make you a failure. It just means that you've ran your course on that particular relationship or job or whatever that is. And now it's time for you to pick up a new course, a new track, a new story. So this is a song called Stardust. Thank you everyone for coming. The stardust in you is so evident. I wish I could kiss every speck of it. Remnants of the beginning, now that we are at the end. You're skeptical of sentiment. Now we made our way through each other. Now we're left with no clothes, making Thank you so much for coming. Thanks for spending your Wednesday night with me. Thank you, the Strand. Thank you, Daniel, Peter, June, my team. One more? My manager's saying, one more. I pay her, so I better do
Can I
what
say
she
one
said.
more on the mic? Is that too much pressure? One more? on
One
the mic?
more a song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mama?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Peter, is that okay? You're the boss. I don't want to do anything that Peter's not okay with.
One more.
One
Let's
more.
do it.
Okay. Jeanette, what do I do? Jeanette, tell me what to do. Oh God. Okay, I could try. Like, oh, okay. I'll do Tightrope. Okay. This is another single off the record. This is the last one. Jeanette's the best. Thank you. I wrote this song one day on the way home from the strip mall pizza place I worked at, and I'm pretty sure I saw a UFO. It just looked like a flaming fireball in the sky. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. And I also was like, wow, I just like don't fucking care, which was a little alarming. And that's what this song's about. I swear I'm not like clinically insane. I'm like like I'm mentally ill, but like, you know, I swear I saw this. Not making it. It is a Pennsylvania thing, Steve. He's seen it. So let's talk. I love UFOs. I love aliens. If you want to talk to me after this about aliens, I'm so down. Yes. Oh God. This is professional. I saw a strange light in the sky, fireball burning brightly. I wish the truck on the overpass would tumble down upon me. The truth is just a piece of gold, dressed as gold. The truth is just a piece of gold, dressed as gold. I turn just as cold. Thanks for coming.